Hello friends, I will be discussing now on the unit 6 learning, another parameter of at the individual level of organization behavior. So learning is something which brings about a permanent change in your behavior. Something which you think you had learned and you forget immediately was not a learning, first of all. So, an individual reacts to any situation or responds to instructions in a particular fashion. That fashion or style is caused due to learning. Learning brings relatively permanent change in human behavior that occurs as a result of experience. It is a lifelong process in which new behaviors are acquired. For example, we are giving example of driving a vehicle. You're driving a vehicle, suddenly a stimulus response comes and you immediately apply a brake. You learn to drive a vehicle. Instant learning. See the picture. He's after and then he learn. The postman. Learning is a continuous process. It is change in behavior. It is a universal process. It is purposive, goal oriented, and a process of progress and development. It can occur in any direction. These directions can be desirable or undesirable. Learning is a continuous process. It's a change in behavior. Obviously, something which is unique and something it gets into a different change in your behavior gets to learning. It's a continuous process. Universally applied at all levels and with a purpose. You learn with a purpose. Some progress, individual development and organization development, obviously. Keeping in mind. Learning is the organization of experiences. The basis of learning is the acquisition of new experiences. Behaviors of learners change as a result of new experiences. New learning experiences evolve as a result of past experiences acquired by the learner. Learning occurs due to activity and environment. Interaction with the environment is very essential for the learning process. The more children interact with their environment, the more they learn. The absence of activity and interaction hampers the quality of learning in the child. Learning helps in achieving teaching learning objectives. Teaching and learning situations have different goals, aims and objectives. Process of learning helps in achieving the objectives of teaching. Learning is the fundamental process of life. Without learning, the progress of a person is not possible. It acts as a basis for the progress of society and the civilization. Learning is the relationship between stimulus and response. It is generally a relationship between stimulus and response. And a person is considered as a learned person if he reacts according to the task to be learned. Through learning, a person learns reactions according to the stimuli associated with the environment and other aspects of life. Learning is transferable. The learning acquired in one situation is capable of transfer to some other situation. The knowledge acquired in one situation proves helpful in acquiring knowledge in another situation. This is known as transfer of learning. The learner should be careful not to let previously gained knowledge interfere in acquiring new knowledge and experiences. There are 4 theories of learning when it comes: classical conditioning, operant conditioning, social learning and cognitive. First we'll discuss classical conditioning theory. Ivan Pavlov has suggested this theory. He says it is a process in which a neutral stimuli that is US unconditioned, when paired with an unconditioned stimulus becomes a conditioned stimulus and it elicits a conditioned response. What he wants to say is, Pavlov wants to say that classical conditioning theory says that an event with repeated several times results into a desired outcome or a desired response. I'll first show you the diagram. There was some dog was taken into consideration in the experiment. Ivan Pavlov, a Russian psychologist, introduced classical conditioning. He has taken dog as a subject. He presented meat as an unconditioned stimulus to the dog. He noticed a great deal of salivation. Then he only rang the bell. सिर्फ घंटी बजाई, डॉग का कोई salivation नहीं. थर्ड स्टेज पे उसने मीट के साथ बेल को रैंग किया and he noticed that the dogs salivate. After this several times, Pavlov only rang the bell without offering meat and he noticed that the dog salivated. There is some saliva in the mouth that has been recorded. Food diya, he saliva, produced saliva. Second mein, he rang the bell and then he noticed his saliva. There was no saliva at all. Third mein, with the bell and the food, he done and then again there was some saliva. In the fourth stage, only bell was rang and he noticed that the saliva was there. What happened? The dog in the fourth stage learnt that when the bell would be rang, he would be given food. So bell, which has been working as neutral stimuli in the previous diagram, has come as conditioned stimulus and become a conditioned response. The dog has become classically conditioned to salivate to the sound of the bell. It will be seen that the learning can take place amongst animals based on stimulus-response connections. The study was undoubtedly single most famous study ever conducted in behavioral sciences. It was a major breakthrough and had a lasting impact on understanding of learning. Second theory, operant conditioning. This was given by B.F. Skinner. He says operant conditioning deals with response-stimulus connection. He states that most human behavior operates based on the environment. Learning depends on what happens after the response, that is the consequences. The learning of voluntary behavior through the effects of pleasant and unpleasant responses. So, in operant conditioning, he had taken an example of a rat. The rat was again caught in his Skinner box. Skinner box was which B.F. Skinner has basically taken as a sample. He says the rat assumes that when he'll press the lever for food, he'll get the food. So consequences, the consequences that when he'll press the lever for food, he will have the food. That is a response in the behavior that he will receive the food. So this is what operant conditioning says, that human beings can be also, if they know what their consequences would be there, negative or positive, accordingly they can mold their behavior, accordingly they can be motivated, accordingly they can learn things and proceed in their daily work atmosphere. Next theory was, you can see, positive reinforcement adds or increase present stimulus. Behavior is strengthened. Giving a student a prize after he gets an A on his test. Negative reinforcement, reduce or remove the unpleasant stimuli. Taking painkillers that eliminate pain increases the likelihood that you will take painkillers again. Painkillers लेने से ये आपको पता लगता है कि हाँ आपका दर्द कम हो जाएगा और उससे आपका जो एक पेन किलर्स लेने का ज़्यादा जो है वो चीज़ बढ़ जाएगी और क्योंकि नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं और ज़्यादा ठीक हो जाऊँगा. Positive punishment, present or add unpleasant stimuli. Behavior is weakened. Giving a student extra homework after she misbehaves in the class. Negative punishment, reduce or remove the stimuli. Behavior is weakened. Taking away a teen's computer, teenagers, after he misses curfew. Cognitive theory. Again, an example of rat, the subject was rat, and when Tolman has taken this cognitive approach, he says that there is a relationship between environmental cues, that is cognitive, and expectation. Cues are what? There is a food somewhere in the presence, and because of this smell, the rat went through any of these food and then he reaches to the end. So what he expects and what cues he had gone, there is a relationship between the two. He found that the rat could run through a critical path with particular intention of getting food, goal or objective. This theory was later developed by applied on human resources where incentives were related to higher performance. That the human resources, if incentives were be given to the employees can work to their best. Next is social learning theory. Social learning theory, which is a behavioral approach. Only this theory is there which is related to the behavior. Basically, this theory says on societies, values, norms, culture, rules, regulation, which the society in which you are there. Whether you are in a formal social gathering or in an informal, whatever you learn through the society, the values which you experience, and definitely that learning experience comes from direct observation or through the past experience. So achieved while interacting with individuals, people observe, alter, or even construct a particular environment to fit in the social behavioral pattern. So they learn from these social patterns. See, it is practiced in organizations by observing various cultural and social practices. This phenomena is distinctively visible in defense services, where cadets opt for a particular regiment based on the performance of their instructors. You can see the diagram. The phenomena is there for the defense, armed service, for the cadets, Air Force, and there they have been given such kind of social learning with society, the industry or the corporate or the gathering in which you learn from the past experiences. In industrial organizations, leader must display a role model so that subordinates copy the style of functioning. Application of learning and OB modification. Now you would be asking why we are doing learning as an OB. So there are certain things. Use of lotteries to reduce absenteeism. Attractive prize can be included in the lottery. There is something like when we absenteeism, if you use lotteries or certain things, absenteeism rate can be reduced to a large extent. And workers display a sense of responsibility that led to increased productivity and higher job satisfaction. If sick leave can be converted into payment of bonus up to a certain extent, the employees would choose to avail of financial benefits and would not absent themselves under the pretext of being sick. They cannot make an excuse that they are being sick. If they think, yes, they are being given paid leaves, they are given bonus, they are given financial benefits. This will improve satisfaction level of employees and would not hamper productivity. Training and development. You could have training sessions to adapt to the new working atmosphere. Mentoring programmers. Mentors need to display model behavior so that subordinates could learn. Mentors should ensure to develop a sense of responsibility among the subordinates who should be able to take higher jobs and work for the organization. They are expected to develop positive attitude towards the subordinate. This can be achieved by full dedication on the part of both mentor and trainee. Discipline. In organization, be it production intensive or service sector, managers should insist that all his subordinates strictly follow the timing of work, dress code, display courteous behavior when interacting with others, and accomplish their assigned task on time. Defaulters should be dealt with strictly. Any lethargy in program implementation will not bring behavior modification. So in terms of discipline, I think everybody should be strict, and where you go, you should be only courteous in where you think the employees deserve to be. Self-management. Regulating various activities and achievement of personal as well as organization goals would be easier in an environment of self-managed organizations. That's all. Thank you.